Tape my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? Hush.
Welcome, World of Blaze listeners, to episode 66. And I am recording on this Thursday, February 27th, 2025, the day of the release of the Epstein files. Or so we thought. It turned out to be the phased release. In fact, phase 1. Phase 1. That's right. Phase 1. Not the release we wanted. Not the release we were promised. But, we got a taste, as they say, a taste. Yeah. But anyway, before I get to all that, and believe me, we are getting to that, I want to make it clear that this episode is really going to be more opinion. It's going to be just how I feel about this whole situation. I know that I've been known for being a facts and data-based show, and even when it comes to an opinion, it's based on facts and data that I've researched. But I think this episode is just going to be mostly opinion, and I have no idea how long this is going to go, but just hang in there with me. But before we get to that, if you've noticed, I've had quite a few guests on the show, quite a few lately. I am going down the route, as they say, of booking more subject matter experts. I want to get down to the bottom of things from the perspective of people who are actually in the field, who actually do things for a living that are relative to what's going on in the news, current events, what's happening. We're trying to get some real world perspective from individuals who actually have hands-on experience. Now, I don't know if you like what I'm doing. I know it's a little bit of a departure from my rants and raves and basically just calling people out, talking shit and cussing into the microphone. But to be quite honest, this is something I've always wanted to do from the start. And I'm not sure it's going to go that way entirely, but definitely be, let's just say you've been informed that there's going to be more of it. And I hope you enjoy it. And I got to say, listen, I've been doing this for a little bit. And I have, thankfully, somehow, humbly, and I do say thousands of downloads a month. Thousands, not millions, I'll admit, but thousands, quite a bit. I have quite a few thousand subscribers that literally listen to the show every single time there's an episode that drops. And I gotta say, I think it's time you guys start giving me a little feedback. How about some responses, little community notes, as they say. Give me a little bit of a, let me know what you're thinking. Give me some comments in your favorite, your podcast player, whether it be Apple or Spotify. Hell, and just so you know, if some of you turn this off right after I'm done with my last point at the end of the show and don't even stay for my closing, you must be aware that the website is up and running. It is at www.worldsablaze.podcast.com. That's right, worldsablaze.podcast.com. That's important for you to know because I have a page there which lists the guests that I've had. I have episode links. There are also my social media links that are in the footer, what they call the foot section of the website. I am on Threads now, so that you can find me on Threads. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on X. And come and visit me. Send me a message. Go ahead and play around on the website there. Let me know what you think. There's contact pages. If there's people who want to be a guest on the show, listen, I am open to any informed individual that is wanting to and willing to conversate and have real conversation. Absolutely. And I am always willing to learn. Look, lately, if anything, recently, I have learned quite a bit from the many guests that I've had so far. And since we're talking about guests, just so you know, and yes, you're still with me. We are going to be talking about the Epstein files, so just hang in there. I will have world-renowned fashion designer and documentarian Jeff Garner on the show. In fact, next week, March 5th, we will be recording. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, George, what's going on? A fashion designer? This isn't what you do. You talk about politics and news and geopolitics. And, well, let me just say this. This is something that I wanted to do because his new documentary, Jeff uncovered a lot of dark secrets that are going on, a lot of dark secrets that have remained hidden in the fashion industry, as well as he exposed all the crazy, harmful chemicals that the clothing industry is willingly using in our clothing that actually affects us, that will actually give us diseases, make us sick, because our skin is in constant contact. And some of the stuff does not wash out like we think it does. And so, yeah, I thought it was important for you, my listeners, thank you very much for remaining a listener, by the way, to hear this. To hear this firsthand from Jeff Garner, because to me, it's important when I talk about current events and news, it's going to include many things, not just politics. And to me, this is something important because it affects everybody. And I find it to be very interesting. So be on the lookout for that release. And I have other guests confirmed that I will not let you know who they are as of now, but just saying there's more coming. So please let me know how you feel about my venture here and having more guests on the show. Are you enjoying it? Do you like it? Just leave some comments. Go to my website, fill out the contact form, send me a message. Let me know how you feel about it. But so far, I haven't heard anyone say they don't like it. So we're going to continue down this road. And with that, I'm going to play a clip of Jesse Waters and Pam Bondi, because before the alleged release of the Epstein files, which ended up just being a phase release, which I'm going to go into, Pam Bondi was asked by Jesse Waters, what the hell are we waiting on? Like, why do we not have these Epstein files? I thought that justice was of the utmost importance, that we would have everything we need once you were in office. And then remember, we're kind of waiting for Kash Patel, right? Kash Patel's in office. Kash Patel's in office now. He's the director of the FBI. So what's the holdup? So here's Jesse.
A lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
What kind? Are we going to see who was on the flights? Are we going to see any evidence from what he recorded? Because he had all of his homes wired with recording devices.
Yeah, what you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Okay, so allegedly, Pam is saying, AG Pam Bondi is saying, allegedly, we're gonna see some flight logs. We're gonna see hopefully we're gonna see some flight logs. There's over 250 victims, and it's just sick. Okay. So what are we going to see, Pam? Well, hopefully, some things. There'll be some stuff. All right, fair enough. You don't want to let it all out right now. I get it. You're probably still filtering through the reports to figure out whether or not you can release certain names due to let's just be honest, our geopolitical relationships. Because according to the previous files that were leaked, or information that was leaked anyway, before Trump came back into office, there were world leaders involved in this scandal of sex trafficking and child abuse and any other thing you can say that some sick person would want to do did. And it implicated a lot of people. So, okay, Pam, I'll give you that. Maybe you don't want to reveal a world leader yet because it benefits the United States of America. Okay, maybe that's the case. I don't know. Is that right? Absolutely not. I say let them all fucking burn. Who cares? But whatever. It's just my opinion. So fast forward, what happened? Well, what we got leaked out today were pictures of social media darlings holding up binders labeled Phase 1. Actually labeled the Epstein Files, Phase 1. What the fuck does that mean? Phase 1. Phase 1. Yeah. And, these people were allegedly, independent journalists. And, to be honest, they were really just nothing but the superstars of X. People like DC Drano, And I think Chaya or Kaya, I forget how you say her name, but basically the owner of the account Libs of TikTok. There were, let's just say, the greatest hits of X were invited to the White House to be given this information. Because that's what's important. No. Instead of doing a press release, a proper press release, where AG Pam Bondi actually addresses America and goes over the vile, heinous discoveries, we see photos of people waving a binder around, smiling as if they were just coming from an amazing cocktail party and they're just walking the red carpet. Very unprofessional, very disrespectful in my view. Was this the right way to do this? Well, everyone on social media, especially X, they all feel like they're these whistleblowers and that they have this power, that they are the truth tellers and the truth sayers. Are they really, though? Are they really? It could be argued that some of these accounts got so big that they're beholden to their followers because guess what? They're fucking monetized. Just as, legacy media was. Not as bad, not to that extent. But still, interesting move. Interesting move, which made the release of the files, the Epstein files in particular, the Epstein files is exactly what we're talking about, actually. It fell flat. It fell flat. It means nothing. It means nothing. And guess what was in phase one? Well, kind of what Pam Bondi alluded to. It was basically mostly from what I have gleaned, from what has been leaked by these social media darlings, to be nothing more than, lists of evidence, such as computers and hard drives and, things like that. Yeah. There is a big page that is heavily redacted, as in 2 columns of pure black, because these are the alleged lists of the victims. Understandable. I get that, especially if this is still an ongoing investigation. Of course, I can understand that. Phase one, though, nothing. A nothing burger, as they say. Nothing burger. So when I saw this, I knew I had to get this show out. Listen, I apologize for getting this out late, everybody. There's been a lot going on. I've been kind of monitoring what's going on in the news, and I really have only so much time to record. And so I held out. So I go outside. I think about this for a while. I think about this. I'm like, why? Look, I had to calm the nerves. I grabbed a 12-year-old Macallan Scotch. I grabbed one of my finer cigars. I had a My Father Le Bijou 1922, and I just contemplated. I thought about it. And while I was thinking about it and scrolling, there seems to be a little bit of a riff, maybe a disconnect. Now, what happened is, while I was outside enjoying my fine cigar and my scotch, which, by the way, I'm not bragging, it was just much needed. I was just like, hey, I need something to take the edge off because I'm pissed off. The Trump administration has been promising. And to the Trump administration's credit, thus far, they have been delivering. But this is one of the biggest scandals that affects the entire world. And we get a phase one binder with pics of people smiling that are nothing more than social media account holders with large followers, which, let's just be honest, are mostly filled with bots. Like, seriously, this is the big reveal. This is not a proper reveal. And in fact, this was my thought when I thought about this. And I went back and forth with one of my friends a little bit, another guy that has an amazing podcast, which I can't let the cat out of the bag, but let's just say that things are working out for him. And hats off to Curvin and his wife over there at This Week Explained. So congratulations to you two. If you listen to this episode, I hope you do. If you don't, I'm going to bug you anyway. But anyway, congratulations on what might be coming. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just going to say that we were going back and forth a bit, texting and messaging, and I got to say, I think we're in agreement. We kind of think, and especially me, that this does nothing. What this does is it waters down the importance of the Epstein files. In my opinion, it waters down the importance of the Epstein files. It also creates distance. It creates distance between the government and the files as they will now be reported. Think about it. Because now our governing bodies can completely deny They have complete deniability because now they can say, well, sure, the information was handed to them, but these reports are just, they're inaccurate. Oh, they manipulated the evidence. They manipulated the information we gave them because they're just social media accounts. They're uncredible sources. You guys catching on to what I'm saying? So while on one hand, it looks like our government, or at least AG Pam Bondi, really truly cares, they are creating distance. They have an out. They have an out if things start to go south. And they probably did this because the rumor being that helps to justify this decision is that, well, here's what really happened. You see, there were other social media account holders that were invited to the party, as they say, that said, well, AG Pam Bondi did explain that they intended to release everything, but unfortunately, there were still some, nefarious characters in the FBI that just didn't want to release all the files. And when they did, they gave us a 200-page document, and we knew this wasn't all of it. We knew it wasn't also. So this is what we got. This is what we had to work with, and we just wanted to get something out. Now, I'm very much paraphrasing, by the way, but this is the messaging that has been going around. So in response, Kash Patel, our FBI director, he stated this: the FBI is entering a new era, one that will be defined by integrity, accountability, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, and no stone left unturned. And anyone from the prior or current Bureau who undermines this will be swiftly pursued. If there are gaps, we will find them. If records have been hidden, we will uncover them. And we will bring everything we find to the DOJ to be fully assessed and transparently disseminated to the American people as it should be. The oath we take is to the Constitution, and under my leadership, that promise will be upheld without compromise. Now, great response, Kash. Great response. And maybe this is how he really feels. And I gotta say, it really is a different message from that of what AG Pam Bondi gave everybody when she was talking to Jesse Waters, because she came across very unconfident, like not confident, didn't really feel like she had much to give the American public, or was very cautious of what she said as to what the American public would be given, what would be revealed. And what we got was nothing that we didn't know. What? Evidence ledger entries? A page of 2 columns of black? Just black. Nothing else. Black. I mean, there were some hash marks that denoted where there might be names or something written, but that was it. Yeah. A big binder of nothing. And so now they're saying, well, we're going to release more. And if you're listening to this on Friday, the day after, on the 28th of February, or whenever you listen to this, I'm sure there will be more information slowly leaked or released. But doesn't this all seem very convenient? Like, why are we doing this in phases? We could point fingers and blame this administration, we could blame this bureau, and we could blame that person working at the FBI and this lawyer, and it's all bullshit, because what they're doing is they probably found out a few things that they don't want released. Oh, sure, we're going to get names. And I hope to hell, that Kash Patel pursues these people and arrests them. Absolutely. And they are convicted, and they are tried, and they were sentenced to the full ledger of the law. Absolutely. I hope Kash Patel means what he said. But to be honest, doesn't this all feel like the same old shit? You see, I want to believe Kash. I do. I want to believe Pam. But thus far, everything kind of seems like a governmental theatrical production. You see, the Epstein files, well, the release of these files thus far was a poorly done tease. Big letdown. And again, let's hope actual arrests are coming. The world, not just America, the world wants to see accountability. And thus far, We're just being led around like a donkey with a carrot and a stick. Now, with that being said, Trump himself seems very genuine and not giving a fuck. Like literally, doesn't give a fuck. His last term, he always said he was going to drain the swamp, and I believe that's what he wants to do. But you know what? I'm sure there are things that had come to light in these files that they got to be cautious of. And I really do believe it comes down to what I said earlier. I believe some of these individuals are world leaders, literal world leaders. People that, I mean, we already know this is a list of power. I mean, very, very powerful people. But I believe that this can compromise our geopolitical relationships. And with everything that's going on with the Ukraine-Russia war and trying to negotiate that piece, we've got Israel going crazy. We got to figure out what's going on with Gaza. We got stuff going on in Africa right now that we need to get a handle on that the U.S. hasn't stepped into yet. We've got China posturing like you wouldn't believe all over the Indo-Pacific region. It's just crazy right now. So maybe they are doing this purposely so that they can make sure that they can hold on to certain relationships that they still need to get things done. And maybe those names will be revealed later. Now, I'm speculating, obviously. I told you from the beginning, this is going to be kind of just an opinion piece more than anything, because I'm reacting just as the rest of the world is reacting. We feel slighted. We didn't get what we wanted. And thus far, it doesn't really feel like we're going to get what we wanted. We're going to be appeased. Sure. Some people will be arrested and some people will go to jail. But don't forget, while this is going on, we have the other crown prince, P. Diddy, as he called himself, Diddy, who's going through the same thing. Now, he hasn't suicided himself. He's not dead. He's still alive, still in jail. They're still going through that. And there's apparently a bunch of high-profile names that are linked to the Diddy files. And maybe some of the hesitation is these names cross over. Again, this is an ongoing investigation. So that's the only excuse I could think, other than geopolitical ramifications that we don't want to disrupt relationships of right now. Like, that may be it. That could be it. Again, I'm speculating. And speaking of abusive people, well, alleged, let me make that clear, alleged abusive people, the Tate brothers were allowed to come back to America. They landed in Florida. Something else that we didn't think we would see. These grifters, in my opinion, by the way, these grifters shouldn't be allowed back in the USA. And you can argue, well, they're U.S. citizens and they should be allowed and they weren't convicted of any crimes. Well, we're talking about Romania. How hard is it to grease palms over there? I mean, look, the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate specifically, there are literal videos that my brother and I have covered on our co-hosted show, Random Thoughts with Manuel and George. I'm not throwing my brother under the bus here, because we don't say anything if we don't have any proof to back it up. Because we know we just can't sling insults and slander around. We understand that. We're not stupid. But there are videos of Andrew Tate literally saying that he made his living by pimping women, webcam business, the whole deal. There's videos of him beating the shit out of women, and he'll just say, oh, it's just performance art. No, there were just willing participants. It didn't look that way to everybody else in the world. And then they prey on men, young men who have poor or low self-esteem, probably almost zero confidence, to buy into their online university of bullshit. Again, this is my opinion. I'm letting you guys know this is my opinion. This is how I feel about these guys. And it's not just me. There's a large chunk of the world that feels this way about the Tate brothers. A large chunk of the world. And so this day, February 27th, 2025, is a very odd day. A big letdown. We still don't know anything about what happened with the with the Epstein child pornography abuse ring, sex trafficking ring, etc. And then we have two alleged, now I'll say alleged, I'm going to make sure I say this right, two alleged sex traffickers and abusers allowed to come back into the U.S. Interesting. Sure, they're citizens. Sure, they weren't convicted overseas by another country. But is this what our administration should be supporting? Is it? I don't know. I don't know how y'all feel. I know how I feel. But I'm going to close this out. As I said, this was probably going to be a shorter episode. And again, listen, this is all my opinion. Please do your own research on this. This was just a rant episode. This was me being disappointed by the day. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show. And thanks once again for listening.
Taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell.